when I was a manager, I was faced with this, and there was no corona, but I had to bring a tech team together, and I incorporated three things that I feel were pretty effective in making everyone feel included and part of the team despite their location. So number one is this. I um I bought everyone lunch. Hear me out. So we would have team meetings bi-weekly, and again, when you're in the home region where most of the team may be, and you have a few other members of your team that are in different regions, you tend to do things or have activities with people in the region that you're with, and kind of tell that other person that's on your team but not in the room what's happening, right? And usually when you're having these team meetings, you have lunch. So while your main team is eating lunch, the other team mates that are not in the office in their own space get to hear you over the phone eating. So one day I decided to surprise members from other regions with lunch and or breakfast, because I live in the east. I had team members in the central region and the west. I surprised them by having food, right? Something small, maybe a sandwich, a hero, a hoagie, whatever you call it, wherever you're from, delivered to them right on time so that they could eat with the team. Although they were in their own space, they got to eat with the team. So if your budget allows, I would suggest trying to eat with the team. And if it's not eating, it's basically sharing an activity that you can do across regions out of room so they feel like they're doing something together. It makes all the difference. Number two, the second thing you could do as a manager, now that we're in this digital corona era, or this era where we have to kind of quarantine ourselves and work from home, you have to not only do meetings over the phone. We have a tendency to gravitate to the phone, and if you're not used to being on video, you prefer the phone, right? Especially now that you're in your own house or in your own space conducting meetings, you don't always want to have people looking at you. Maybe you're not ready, or you don't want them to look at your space. Um, or you're just not used to it. You save video time with your family, like FaceTime, Skype. You're used to doing that with your family, not with your coworkers. I would encourage you to get into the practice of having video one-on-ones with all your team members. It makes all the difference. Again, speaking from experience, I had team in my main region and my main office that I could walk up to, schedule, meet in a phone booth or a small conference room and talk to them about their day. And the other members of my team that weren't there, they would want, we'd do a phone call, and eye to eye connection goes a long way. So I would encourage you as a manager to get into the practice of doing video meetings. It doesn't have to be every meeting. Slowly work your way into it and make that connection over the screen, over the camera, eye to eye with that your remote team. Makes the difference. Lastly, I would say that you find a way to get your team on the same page by doing activities where they have to co-sign each other or collaborate with each other. So Here's an example. If you have, again, a bi-weekly meeting, have them team up to either own a section of the meeting or present a section of the meeting. This responsibility will require them to communicate with each other prior to the meeting, maybe once or twice or several times, to be able to really put their best foot forward when the meeting happens. During that collaboration or those meetings, there's a bonding experience happening, and that's what you're trying to encourage. So, um, that would be a good thing to incorporate. Um, for a non-meeting example, I would say look at parts of your process to see if there I would say look at parts of your process where you can incorporate a cosign. So for me in ad tech, we needed multiple people to QA before we would deploy. And so two people have to sign off on a QA. If they're both working in the same document, that's a certain bonding. If they have to talk to each other about findings, that's a bonding. The theme, digital bonding in some sort of way, and encouraging that relationship. From the top, number one would be to find an activity that they can share across the board that's not necessarily work. I did having lunch together but separate. The second one would be encouraging video conferencing. As a manager, you have to grow to love it. Even as a person on their team, they have to grow to love it because the eye-to-eye connection is important. And last but not least, the collaboration during activities or the co-signing of different parts of the process. Okay, if you like what you're seeing, please like the page and share it, or like the video and share it. You can like me on YouTube or subscribe at Tricia Joy 360. You can find me on Facebook at Hello Tricia, and here on LinkedIn, Tricia Andrew. All right, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and see you again.